The underground is great and all, and I love working on it, but I need a break. This is not to say that the underworld is finished. It is in no way finished. I'm not done. I've still got stuff I want to do. It's not nearly as big. There are so many interiors missing. Oh my gosh, I still need to work on it. But, after last episode, I kind of need a break from the underworld. I would like to be in the sun. I would like to experience the world and not just be underground. I think if I spend more time in the underworld, I will eventually develop a vitamin D deficiency, and that would be bad. You know, like, I need some time not in the underworld. I need a break. And what better way to take a break than by working on something that I've been procrastinating? Which is to say, my backyard, which is a mess. It is legitimately a mess, and it has been like that since the beginning of the season, and I think it's time it gets cleaned up a little. That doesn't mean that I'm no longer going to have a garden back there. I would just like to have an aesthetic garden. Like, inspiration from this is definitely Cosmos' garden. Cosmos is my neighbor over there, and his garden, beautiful, aesthetic, probably also useful. I mean, just look at this. It's aesthetic. I look at it and I'm like, wow, this is such a garden. It's a little chaotic, it's a little messy, but it's perfect. It's like, this is the vibes I want. I don't want it to look exactly like this, but I definitely, mad inspiration, man. I look at this and I'm like, yes, this is a garden. Mine is also going to be beautiful and aesthetic, hopefully, taking mad inspo from his, and also still, you know, functional, and because I do need all of those resources. Like the pumpkins are literally my second most mined item and my most picked up item because of how much I'm using them. Like, I don't think my need for pumpkins is going to lessen any. I just would not like it to be all over my backyard, making a mess. Now, it's all well and good to want an aesthetic garden that still has all the functionality I need. But small problem, I still have an entirely separate garden there. I've got a garden back there, and it is a mess. So the first thing we need to do before we can actually work on making it aesthetic is just cleaning out everything that was already in there. So let's go. So while the last few bits of farmland are drying out, it's time to tackle the big pieces like this, which honestly isn't that big, and this, which is my sugarcane farm that has been running the entire season. And you might be like, corn, that's a lot of sugarcane. But it's actually not a lot of sugarcane, and this is gonna leak everywhere. It's just that, it's been running the entire season. It's not even a very good farm. It is corn redstone, which means I followed no tutorial and just figured things out by myself, because that's the kind of redstone I do. We've got 2 observers for the entire thing, because I built it at, 5, because I built it at the beginning of the season, when I didn't have any quartz. And it's just, it's a mishmash, and it looks, honestly, horrible in my backyard. It's looked horrible the entire time. I don't know. It's time to take it out. It's time to take it out. So I've cleared everything out, and I've started filling in the hole that was made by the giant sugarcane farm that is no longer there. But looking around, I really just need to decide what I want to do with this landscape because it is all over the place. I can't even remember what it looked like originally, but I'm pretty sure it didn't just sort of flop in the way, and like, what is this? I need to smooth it out, and then I also need to get some in-ground lighting in, because if we look at the light levels, aside from my immediate area, it really is just a spawn box out here. Like anything, the Wild West. It needs better lighting. So we're gonna do the shaping, and we're gonna do the lighting. Alright, so I've done some shaping, and you might be thinking, corn, it looks a bit weirder than before, especially when I take you down here and you see the sudden drop-off of right there. But right there is where I'm planning on putting, like, a nice retaining wall, a garden wall, I think that'll look great. So it won't look as weird, and I think it might even look nice. That's why I'm doing it from this perspective, to sort of match, using the tones of the shell to match that with the garden wall. I think that would be great. So I'm planning on doing it. That's why I'm doing it. I'm planning on doing it because I think it'll look good. Welcome to my channel. I do things because I think they'll look good. And then in general, the reason I wanted to follow sort of the curves that were already there, sort of that this traipses down on this side, and we've got like a walk into the garden area over here, and then that we'll get a walk into the garden area over here, where my compost bin used to be. And I like that it's sort of like, if you were to look from above, there's like two paths. There's one that goes this way, and there's one that goes this way, and I appreciate that. And I've done a lot of lighting up, so it should be spawn safe to an extent. When I say to an extent, I mean because, like, I have not put over here, because this is where we're getting a little bit close to my neighbor who is not Cosmos, my neighbor Nick, and so I do not want to bother him with his base, so I do not light up the area as much. But anyway, now, I think it's about time that after talking about why I would like to do the wall, it's time I should put the wall in, so we're gonna do that. Alright, so I've got the garden wall in, and I think it's looking pretty nice. I'm not sure if I want to put paths in. I haven't decided that yet, because on one hand, they could look cool, and on the other hand, they could make it look, I guess, too ordered. Like, paths is an established thing, and I live in a snail, and I don't know if I'm ready for that kind of order in my life, or if that's something I would, go with. But something I do think I know that every garden requires is a compost area, because composters are wonderful, and so I think that's the next thing I'm going to add. I'm going to add my sort of compost thing back, but I'm going to make it aesthetic this time, and I think I'm going to put it somewhere around here. And the compost area is done. I think it looks quite cute. We've got a mushroom here, a bunch of leaves. It makes a great texture when you walk around. When this grows up, it's going to be like weird berries growing. How this is a weird fungus by the compost pile. I think that's great fun. And although this might look a whole lot less, efficient than my old thing, it is a lot more aesthetic, and it's not actually more inefficient, because you see, if I put these leaves here, and you hear that there's a composter, that's because this is going to introduce you to the idea, which I am creating, of the undergarden, which is to say, everything is going to look real nice on the surface, and going to have real purpose below. It's the undergarden. I've been planning this since the beginning when I realized that, my pumpkins kind of looked ugly, but I still do need the functionality of having so many pumpkins, because villager trading never ends. And so we have the undergarden. So, undergarden part 1, no, that doesn't look right anymore. There we go. Undergarden part 1, we've got the undercompost. I'm just sticking under in front of everything. I was trying to leave the underworld, but what can I say? It keeps coming back. So, we've got the compost area. Now it's time to think about other things, like actual plants. I'm thinking maybe a pumpkin patch, because I do want to have, like, cute little crop areas. They just have to be aesthetic, and not a giant farming mess. The giant farming mess will go below. So maybe a nice cute pumpkin patch to start. Yeah. A nice cute pumpkin patch to start. So I've been waiting for the pumpkins in the pumpkin patch to, actually become pumpkins and stuff, and you might see from that peek into my inventory that I got some redstone things in here. And that's because I've realized that I kind of need an entrance to the undergarden. Yes, there are now a bunch of buttons on this wall, because some of the buttons, and by that I mean this button in particular, lets you in. Now, this is very simple, straightforward redstone that looks clunky, but hey, I did it. And I feel pretty good about it. Like, you probably wouldn't know it's there. I considered having it tied to the level of compost in here, but I didn't, because, I've pulled that trick before, But first of all, I pulled that trick before, and second of all, I didn't want, to have to compost things to get at my stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. Looks good. You've got a slight chance of being pushed into the berry bush if you don't make it out in time, which is unfortunate, but I mean, I guess you should just get good. And all this time, only one pumpkin has reached maturity.
One eternity later.
The last pumpkin stem has finally grown. Pumpkin isn't here yet, but once it has, I'll be able to do final detailing on this area, because I think it needs a little green. I might be completely off, but I think it needs a little green. And then after that, we need to set up an automatic pumpkin farm, which I do not know how to do. My redstone expertise was for making this door and literally nothing else. But Percy is online, so I've asked him to come over and told him I'd pay him to do it for me, because that is how you do things on a server if you don't know how to do them. We're just gonna see if he can find the door. I think that would be funny. So Percy came over and he found the entrance immediately.
I'm seeing buttons, but I'm not sure. Ah, there you go.
Yeah, you gotta go faster, you'll be punched into the berry bush. This is the kind of redstone I can do.
That works.
Yes.
Okay, we've got some space here. Okay, I see. Okay. Do you have a preferred place for it in here?
Literally anywhere. So Percy and I spent like a good half hour building an automatic pumpkin farm. And when I say Percy and I mean Percy did stuff and I just kind of looked at him while he did it. But the end result, pumpkin farm. And now that the auto pumpkin part is done, the functional part is done, so we can get back to aesthetics and finish detailing that pumpkin patch. The pumpkin patch is fully grown in and produces pumpkins, and I really didn't know you could bone meal these stems, so now I feel kind of silly. But also, we've got my very wonderful automatic pumpkin farm, which probably did something. It produced a single pumpkin. This is proof of concept. And it'll just run entirely in the background, and that is something I need in my life. No more hitting pumpkins for me. Pumpkins will not have to be my most mined and picked up item anymore. It'll just happen automatically. And isn't that something beautiful? What isn't beautiful, however, is the fact that I feel like that needs more greenery. So, we'll see. It's missing something. And now the pumpkin patch feels right, and it looks right from afar. You know, I don't know why adding in flowers made things better. I do know why adding in ferns made things better. It's because I stole that from Zoontii. Zoontii has a really aesthetic pumpkin patch, and I stole that idea. But it looks better now. So we've got the pumpkins, we've got the automatic pumpkin farm, we've got my bone mealinator, and all of that stuff, the compost area. But I was also growing other things, like, you know, potatoes. I stopped growing carrots earlier in the season, but I think, like, I could use some small patches of vegetables, because we're still going for that sort of aesthetic garden vibe. And I think, like, a pumpkin patch and a compost bin do not a garden make, so it's time to add in some other vegetables. So I've gone ahead and maybe gone a little far without an update, but one of the things I did is put some netherrack in like a pot here. Not netherrack, oh my gosh, netherwort. I'm growing netherwort because it's always convenient to grow netherwort. And then over here, we've got sort of my cottagecore garden area, which I'm so very happy with. I'm growing turnips, or parsnips, or really whatever I want these to be. There's some kind of root vegetable that isn't carrots, because these are clearly carrots, and there's some kind of very big root vegetable. So I am growing the biggest turnips this town has ever seen, I guess, and potatoes, and carrots, and I'm pretending. But this is all a big game of pretend for me, and I'm loving it. So I've got my turnips and parsnips over there, and I've got cabbages over here, and I would really love for these to be like a different shade of green, because they very much match the grass, but it is what it is. And then over here, we've got tomatoes, and I really like pretending these rose bushes are tomatoes, because I think that, like, with the armor stands, they really do look like tomato cages. I don't think this is my idea. I'm pretty sure I saw this somewhere, but I don't remember exactly where I saw it. Same with the wheelbarrow. The wheelbarrow is here specifically to hide this water source, because it needs to hydrate the turnips. But yeah, now I've got a cute little wheelbarrow here, which is also not my design, and I don't know where I saw it first, but credit to whoever came up with this. And in general, I'm just it's such a cute area. I'm thinking, like, I considered putting paths in, but I think there is altogether too much order right now. Not too much order. It's the right amount of order right now, and I don't want a path in. I think I like just walking by, having some bits a little crazy, some bits not. Like, this is clearly, you know, a garden. Like, a little bit more organized. And then this side, we've got, like, you know, it feels right. It feels balanced right now. I do think maybe something is missing over here, like a bench or something. But that would pretty much be it. And I think maybe I'll do, like, a couple last-minute things, maybe throw some flowers around. But, you know, I'm feeling pretty good about this. So I've just finished adding in some last minute details like these flowers around me and this bench I'm sitting on, you know, like right here. But that's pretty much it, and nothing super has changed, so I'm just going to give you a quick walk around the garden because you've pretty much seen it all before. Over here, we've got my nice little garden patch where I'm growing potatoes, carrots, cabbage, tomatoes, really unreasonably big turnips, and I've got my wheelbarrow to carry anything if I need it. I've got a cute little pumpkin patch over here, some netherwort, my compost bin, where I just compost directly like this if I don't want to put it into the compost bin itself, because of course, there's the undergarden, and here's the only new thing, which is a much bigger pumpkin farm. Percy made me a bigger one, because the other one I AFK'd for an hour and only got 2 pumpkins, and I messaged him and I was like, this is not okay. So he made me a new one, and I paid him more. But yeah, I've also, I guess, moved, you know, cocoa beans and cactus down here, but this is the garden. I'm very happy with it. I'm happy that this is my garden. It's nicely lit up, as you can tell the sun's going down and nothing is spawning. And I like it. It's very cute. It's got good vibes. I like it. And so now when I do these kind of like talking to the camera things, you'll be able to see that my backyard is actually kind of nice.